Get ready to hear the truth about America on a show that's not immune to the facts with your host, Dan Bongino.
All right, welcome to the Dan Bongino Show. Producer Joe, how are you today?
Hey-ho, let's go.
Yeah, hey, no time to mess around.
Nope.
I'm going to try my hardest to stack this into an hour. Do not, under any circumstances, miss this show, which if you're listening right now, you clearly haven't. But don't tune out at any point. This is going to be the timeline show. If I can't fit it all into one, it will be a course of 2 episodes, but this is going to sum it all up for you based on the feedback from yesterday's show. I've been working on this all night. I haven't slept doing this. All right, let me get right into it. I still got to take care. We got to pay for the show. Today's show brought to you by our buddies at iTarget. If you haven't checked out iTarget yet, it's the best way to improve your firearm accuracy. Anybody can own a firearm. The question is, can you shoot it accurately? This is the best way to practice in your dry fire practice at home and to do it safely. What is the iTarget Pro system? It is a laser round they will send you. Along with a target, and comes with a phone app. Now, what is dry fire? Dry firing is when you fire an unloaded weapon, of course, safely. Look and check twice, check 3 times. That's a safe and empty chamber. Look, feel in there, right? When you dry fire, you practice your trigger control, you practice your sight alignment. The iTarget Pro system allows you to do that in conjunction with a laser round you drop in with the firearm you have now. You don't have to make any special modifications. When you depress the trigger on this laser round, it emits a laser onto a target. That way you can see where the rounds would have went. It's the iTarget Pro system. I get tremendous reviews on this thing from everyone from self-defense advocates to first-time gun owners to cops and military folks who need to work on their accuracy. Go check it out today. It's at itargetpro.com. That's itargetpro.com. The letter I, itargetpro.com. Promo code Dan. Save yourself 10%. Remember, competitive shooters dry fire 10 times more than they live fire. Range gets expensive, folks. Go check it out, itargetpro.com. All right, folks, I'm going to do my best to get this all summed up for you. I've been working on this for a while, so seriously, I haven't slept much. Let's get going with this. Okay, the timeline. Oh, wait, one more thing, because this is important. Yeah, I've been getting a lot of complaints about yesterday's show, not the content, but people say, what are you saying, Dan? You said justice isn't coming in the case now. You said they're going to use Manafort as a scapegoat now and get out of it. That's not what I was saying. I do believe justice is coming in this case before I get. This is a perfect way to start. I believe there are going to be serious consequences. I do believe there are people in the Justice Department and the FBI who know what's going on. I was simply trying to tell you yesterday that's Andy McCarthy's theory that they're going to use Manafort as an out and say, look, Manafort was a bad guy. The Obama team screwed up, but they had reasons, and it was because of Manafort, and everybody see you later. That is not what I'm getting from my folks. I'm just telling you that's what McCarthy thought. So have no fear, folks. You're like, what happened, Dan? You said justice is coming. Now you're saying it's not? No, it is. Okay. Let's start with generalities first. 2012. Obviously, Hillary Clinton sets up a private email server. Note, during the course of that private email server and that private email transactions, we know she emailed Barack Obama, despite his assertions otherwise. 2013. We know the FBI begins working with Carter Page. Carter Page, who later goes on to become the boogeyman in the FISA application that the Obama administration, the FISA spying application, they grab against Carter Page. But he began working with the FBI, Carter Page, on a case against a Russian, a person affiliated with Russian spies, the Buryakov case. That's in 2013. 2014. The entire effort for the Russian reset collapses. Oh, by the way, a lot of this is, just so you know, I don't mean to keep interrupting, but it's critical. At the show notes today, one of the better timelines I've found is at CherylAtkinson.com. I'll put the link in the show notes. I'm going to use some of it. I'm not going to use some of it. I don't like. It's very detailed from a journalistic perspective, but it doesn't tell some of the story I want to tell. But I will put it up in the link, to be fair, because I do use a lot of it, and she did a really good job. Russian reset collapses in 2014 as the Russians invade Ukraine. Now, interesting, right around this point, a former Clinton official, Alexandra Chalupa, begins her investigation into, begins looking into Paul Manafort, who later goes on to become the Trump campaign chairman. he has some ties to Ukraine. I told you yesterday, if you listen to yesterday's show, Manafort is going to be the new Democrat boogeyman for this after they passed on Papadopoulos, and now they're starting to run away from their Carter Page story. So the Russian reset collapses. The Democrats now realize that all of their efforts under the Obama administration to appease the Russians through the Uranium One deal, all of that goes out the window because the Russians invaded a friend of ours, Ukraine. Not going to happen. NG. No good. Okay? All right, summer of 2014, the Benghazi committee gets word that the emails from Hillary Clinton that they're grabbing are not from a state.gov account. So keep in mind, 2012, Hillary sets up the private email. 2014, the Russian reset collapses. All of a sudden, there's a Benghazi investigation that happens after that. They get wind of Hillary having a private email server. That's how they found out about that, for those of you who don't know. This is all important. This is all going to tie in later. Just follow along here. But there's a lot to get to. 2015, the FBI opens an investigation into Terry McAuliffe, governor of Virginia, about some donations involving people who were associated with the Clinton Foundation. McAuliffe meets with Andrew McCabe, a senior FBI manager at the time. Fascinating. McCabe's wife goes on to run for office, Jill McCabe, for state senate, Virginia, and gets $700,000 from Terry McAuliffe-affiliated groups. McCabe is later placed in charge of the Clinton investigation on emails. March 4th, 2015. Again, hat tip Cheryl Atkinson. New York Times breaks the story about the Clinton emails. About Clinton the Clintons having a private server, Joe. Mm-hmm. This is March 4th, 2015. John Podesta, Clinton consigliere, known Clinton affiliate, Clinton mouthpiece, then sends emails worrying about how Obama emails are about how Obama should suggest that they should withhold these emails. Podesta, in other words, Joe, emails people within his circle because his emails are leaked later in a phishing scam he fell prey to, where he emails and says, hey, listen, folks, Obama should claim presidential records treatment here and should block these emails. Right. Why is that important? It's important because the entire reason the Obama administration had to, let's say, nudge, to use a Cass Sudstein word, to nudge the Department of Justice not to prosecute Hillary for having an illegal private server is because she emailed Obama. I've been telling you this the entire time. She emailed Obama. Obama is implicated in this whole thing. Podesta's already worried about that, knows the genius of Hillary emailing Obama. I think she did it on purpose to rope him in, knowing once she ropes him into the scandal that he can't possibly push his DOJ, Department of Justice, to prosecute Hillary because why, Joe? They'll have to prosecute him too. Right. Podesta knows this. He suggests, by the way, this is important, he doesn't suggest they use executive privilege. He suggests the Obama administration block the emails based on confidentiality and presidential records. Why, Joe? Because if he admits executive privilege and tells Obama to use it or pushes Obama to use it, they have to admit the information was classified. Right. Genius. These cats, aren't they? Devious little tigers. March 2015. Loretta Lynch, keep in mind, this is right after the New York Times story about the Clinton emails. Loretta Lynch tells Jim Comey, FBI director, to call this investigation into the Clinton emails, Joe, a matter, not an investigation. Right. Which jokingly becomes the subject of jokes later, as people suggest it should be renamed the Federal Bureau of Matters, not the Federal Bureau of Investigation. March 7th, 2015, 3 days after the New York Times story about the Clinton emails. President Obama says in an interview that he learned about Hillary's private server through news reports. Fascinating. Considering he's already emailed Hillary at a non-state.gov email. Wow. That's impressive. He learned about it through news reports, despite using the email, Joe. Amazing how that happens, isn't it? Cheryl Mills, Clinton confidant, who is later allowed to sit in on the FBI meeting about Hillary Clinton, with Hillary Clinton about these matters, by the way. Cheryl Mills, Clinton confidant, later in an email to Podesta and others, contradicts this and says, hey, we better get on board with this. Basically, the president said he found out about the emails through news reports, but hey, he's emailed Hillary on that state.gov thing. Joseph, that's not possible. Cheryl Mills says something's rotten in the state of Denmark. Ruh-roh. Also explains now the reluctance of the Obama team to push for a Hillary prosecution because, again, Obama's on the emails. How many times I got to tell you this? This is the problem. Summer of 2015, the DNC is breached. We still don't know how. The narrative will form later that the DNC was hacked by the Russians. There is still no direct evidence of that because the FBI was never allowed to investigate the case. October of 2015. Obama emails are now covered using the presidential records exemption, which I told you about before. They're not using executive privilege here, but they want presidential records and confidentiality because they gotta cover their tracks, but they can't admit, Joe, that this is in fact executive privilege and classified information, or else it's the rope-a-dope, which they don't want.
Right.
Okay, late 2015. Alexandra Chalupa, now DNC operative, who has been working on this anti-Paul Manafort. Now, folks, why am I telling you about Chalupa and Manafort? Let me set this up. So, again, we're at late 2015. The Clinton email story is broken already. Mm-hmm. The Russian reset is over because the Russians have invaded Ukraine. There's this woman who's a Ukrainian American who's working for the DNC, Chalupa. She is now involved in a investigation into Manafort. Manafort's not associated with the Trump campaign right now, but he was later. Crazy how that happens. Alexandra Chalupa in late you see where I'm going with this, Joe?
I think so, yeah.
Alexandra Chalupa, I don't get into conspiracy theories. I'm just telling you there are a whole lot of strange coincidences here. In other words, Joe, Manafort has no relationship with the Trump campaign.
Right.
Manafort later goes on to be a Trump campaign advisor and chairman later on.
Yeah.
Manafort is the subject way earlier of an investigation by this woman, Alexandra Chalupa, who is a former Clinton official, by the way, who is now working with the DNC and starts sharing her work on Manafort and his, supposedly alleged illicit connections to the Ukraine. She starts now sharing her work with the DNC and the Clinton campaign. Wow. And then Manafort appears later with the Trump team. Crazy how this stuff happens. I'm with you. All right.
That's
cool,
what I thought in the first place, but I'm glad that you reinforced that. All
right, good. 2016. The National Security Administration database searches are expanded. This is, again, a hat tip Cheryl Atkinson, and I will put this, please read it. It's really, really long. It's done very journalistically, but it's good, meaning she's just a facts person. I'm trying to tell a story here, so I've had to add some and take some away. But the new timeline will be in my book. We're almost done with it. Databases into the National Security Administration's basically searches, metadata searches, expand in 2016 from 9.6 thousand in 2013 to 30.3 thousand in 2016. I would call that a threefold increase. Very interesting. What's also fascinating right around this time is in early 2016, Mike Rogers, head of the NSA, becomes suspicious of some inquiry activity into the NSA database, basically getting information to spy on Americans that seems to have grown dramatically about this time. Wow. Crazy how that happens.
Things are heating up.
Things are it's going to get a lot better. Trust me. We have just begun. What was it? We have just begun to fight. I'm ready to roll with this thing today. I've been on this all day. My wife's like, what are you doing? I've got like 5 pages of notes here. All right. March 2016. Podesta. His emails cracked into. He falls prey to a phishing scam. John Podesta, of course, Clinton consigliere, who was already advised, by the way, people on the Clinton campaign that they are in a world of trouble about those emails to Obama. All of a sudden, he falls prey to a phishing scam on his email, and his emails are then captured. By the way, January of 2016, Andy McCabe, who beforehand had taken is that January or June? It looks like, I'm sorry, my handwriting's so awful, so forgive me if I'll correct it if I get it wrong. It looks like January of 2016, McCabe takes the lead on the Clinton investigation. Andy McCabe, remember, was